sort of saw yourself as?
Yeah, originally when I went up for the part, I was auditioning for Mark. And then it was not until very late in the auditioning process when it was just, I remember auditioning with Jamie and we switched the roles round, and that was the first time that, and at first there was a disappointment because I sort of had this idea in my head of who I was going to play, although I was thinking, oh shit, what am I going to do about all the football? Because I'm so terrible. I once did a role where I had to play football and they got this like 35-year-old body double to come in, and I so like had me, 15-year-old me, and then 35-year-old hairy legs from the waist down. So I was thinking maybe that was an option, I want to play Mark. But it worked. Once the decision was made, it made a lot of sense, and for me it was a more interesting role to play. I thought to never play the ending. You know, you're always trying to play the reality of this unreality that he's living in, to make that make sense all the way through. So even when it's getting very outlandish and I mean it's difficult when MI5 gets involved to maintain this illusion, but that was our intention, to always hopefully to make the audience go, this is real, hopefully.
And you're pretty brilliant in it. So and I've also seen Someday This Fame Will Be Useful for You.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like not a similar role, but same kind of.
Both sort of alienated youths.
Yeah, and the kind. And I was wondering, do you prefer doing movies like this, like smaller ones, the independent ones, or would you rather be doing, well not rather, but would you fancy doing a big kind of Hollywood style movie? Like I've heard you say you like Gravity.
Yeah. I thought Gravity was amazing. Amazing.
It was great. And would you be interested in doing bigger movies like that, or would you rather stay with the small independent ones?
No, I think they're two polar opposite experiences to be a part of. I was originally on Maleficent, and then some weird studio politics happened, and then they ended up recasting the roles that we were playing. And that is that pretty much summarises the difference between independent movies and big movies. That weird stuff can happen that is controlled by above the creatives on big movies. That there's this just layer of sort of people with lots of money who aren't really there on the day-to-day basis, who make sort of overarching, broad decisions that affect the creative process, but that they're very sort of removed from, and that can be quite frustrating. Whereas you just don't have that as much with independent movies. You have producers that are there on a day-to-day basis, and you have a relationship with them, and you're able much more to focus on what you're trying to do. But then, by the same token, you get amazing movies that come out of big studios like Gravity, which are just, you know, when it all comes together, those movies can be very profound and very amazing. But it is. I heard that Alfonso Cuarón was talking about all the stuff that the studio wanted to put in the movie. Like, they were like, oh yeah, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's fucking amazing. But they're saying like that the person that she speaks to occasionally at like at Mission Control, that had to be the love interest. She's got to be in love with the person at Mission Control, and they had to be flashbacks. And why aren't there any car chases? And it's like Alfonso had to like say, no, I want to make the movie I want to make. But it is difficult, and so it can be a frustrating experience. Whether something like this was actually just a breeze and wonderful to work on from start to finish.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
To do, you know, pick up films which won't really be seen, which I did with the artist, obviously, but it was nice to see that they got involved here.
Did the Weinsteins do that?
Well, it was at the shorts earlier that I see that they were plugging the Weinsteins.
Oh, thank you. Yes, they did. They did do that.
I don't know what you're talking about. The Weinsteins came in and they bought a number of territories. That's how they got involved with the film. They came in at a later stage when we needed some back-end money, and they came in to help us out. So that's how they came involved.
Is that the reason that we're seeing it tonight, do you think, or do you think?
No, it's not, but they were certainly helpful.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw that the trailer for the Diana movie was on TV, And obviously it's just like Naomi Watts is trying to do like an amazing portrayal of this real woman about like, oh, how she was hounded by the press and the media and how they ruined her life. And it's like, that is part of it. You are doing that now. You are on screen portraying this person and narrating her life like a journalist would be a narrator that would sort of make up stories based on pictures. And it seemed like it was all just part of the symptomatic, the same sort of thing. And so I felt like, oh, is it my place to come into these are children when this happened, and whether it was right for me to come in into their lives in a way and sort of rewrite what happened. But I don't really have any contact with the person that I played whoever John is, wherever he is. I don't know that real person. So my way around thinking about this was just that I was playing the character that was written on the page, and that was where everything that I was informed by came from that, nothing else really. I mean, there was a point where we sort of had access to bits of information that I'm sure Judy did for writing the article, that we could see, but really that became irrelevant because it wasn't conducive to the character that was written on the page. So I just thought that I'm playing John, the character, rather than this person that's off somewhere living his life, probably quite annoyed that this film exists for their actions. But I think that whatever was held, in this case, whatever was held up in a court of law, I think that is where, I mean, if there was a punitive sentence and one of them, both of them were sent to jail for what they did, I think that is where the crime stops. But once you allow the press into your world and you give away identity, I think that the rules that we have in this country protecting people's privacy, I think is something that we should uphold. And I don't think that, because I mean even regardless of their identities being held, we still have managed to make a movie about it, and there's an opera that has been done about this story. And I think that they're teenagers, but I mean I never did anything like this, but things that I did when I was younger that I was like, please don't make an opera about this. when I get older, and then once it's out forever, and you can't take it back. And there'd be an opera, and there'd be a documentary about that opera, and then they'll write a book about that thing, and it will never end. And those kids will never be able to. At least now, they might be in the audience at this point and can watch the film with a privacy where they know what I did was really bad, but I can at least now move on with my life. I don't think like dragging children into a perpetual cycle of like, remember what you did, remember how terrible it was. I think they'll never get over it. And I mean, and at least now maybe they can go on to be whatever they whatever they want to be whoever you want to be.
A good time for.
That was really an excellent film. Really, it was great. And I just want to know, why is it not on general distribution?
Yeah.
Good question.
This is a long story then. Well,
I don't know when to give it, but actually.
We'll do it in a minute. I'll come find
Okay, great. Thank you. Because they're literally harassing me right now. Thank you.